Alright, so we're going to finish this up. We've got a couple more examples, and then I'm going to show you what to do on your practice sheet today. So the negative exponent rule. Alright, so when you have a negative here, we can't leave a negative exponent. So what happens is this negative represents an inverse. So you're going to do 1 over x, and that negative will become a positive now that it's been switched from the numerator to the denominator. So it just becomes 1 over x to that power, but we get rid of that negative power this way. So what happens here is negative 5 is still our numerator. Alright, so remember that any whole number, anything like that, is always considered to be a fraction over 1. So we're going to take this, and the negative 5 is still the numerator, okay? And then this x to the negative 2 becomes 1 over x squared, okay? And now just to simplify that, we're going to go ahead and write it as negative 5 over x squared, okay, because that's negative 5 over 1, and we can simplify those. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and 1 times x squared is still x squared, so we can leave that simplified like that. Alright, now here we have some division that we need to take care of. So 4 divided by 8 is 1/2. X squared divided, or k squared divided by k to the 5th. We're going to take that 2 and subtract the 5, so k, 2 minus 5. And we end up with the 1/2 still, and then k to the negative 3, because 2 minus 5 is negative 3. We can't leave that exponent as a negative, so we're going to write it as 1/2 still, okay? And then this k to the negative 3 is going to go to the bottom and become a positive 3. So 1 over 2k cubed, and that's going to be our final answer on one like that. Okay, and then we have the zero exponent rule. Alright, and the zero exponent rule says that anything to the 0 power is 1. And that's as simple as it is. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. So here we have 7, and then we have x to the 0 power, which is 1, and 7 times 1 is 7. Okay, so here we have exponents, we have division, so let's start with the exponents. W to the 4th raised to the 2nd power is going to be 4 times 2, which is 8, so w to the 8th, and then w to the 8th down here. And now we have division, so we're going to do the quotient rule. So we're going to do 8 minus 8, which is 0, and anything to the 0 power is 1. And that's going to be the final answer here. Now if you remember back here in the quotient rule, we had a y equals 0, or y to the 0 power. That was our final answer. But now we know the zero exponent rule says that the final answer here is actually 1. So we want to make sure that we take care of that as well. Okay? Alright, so remember those are just a quick recap review of what you've already learned. You learned these in 8th grade. If you have questions about them, make sure that you ask. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to work the practice problems on the back side of this. So here are your notes that you're going to use for your rules, and we're going to switch to the back side where we have our maze. Okay? So starting point is right here where it says start. You're going to solve it, and then you're going to follow the maze to the end of the problem. Okay, so we start with negative 8 divided by 4, so remember that's going to be a negative 2. Okay, and then we have quotient rule. Quotient rule says that we subtract these exponents. So 18 minus 6 is x to the 12th power. Now we look at all of the roads coming out of this, and we are looking for negative 2x to the 12th power, which is right here. So we're going to follow this route to the next problem, and we're going to solve it. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and solve this problem, and you have two options. You can either go down or you can go to the right, so it will depend on what your answer is. So just make sure you follow your exponent rules, and you're going to keep going throughout your maze until you end up here at the end box. Okay, now if you have any questions, make sure you ask them. I'll be happy to help, and hopefully you will be back in class soon. Alright, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help.